Hello and good morning, everyone. Happy Mass Effect Legendary Edition Day. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. Of course, I am your host, Mr. Boomstick XL, and my goodness, I'm just happy. Like, I am just smiling from ear to ear. I am playing Mass Effect 1. The upgrades that they've done to this game are just astounding. As you can see, I was able to capture an hour and 20 minutes worth of footage very early this morning, so we can have that to look at as we talk about not only Mass Effect, but a bunch of incredible topics that should fill easily a 2-hour show. But let me get into the introductions, and we'll start with no longer rookie sensation. He's basically Mr. Podcast 24/7. Please welcome Pong Soul. What's up, brother?
Thanks, Boom. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to obviously everybody out there in chat land. It is a great Friday, like you said, Boom. Happy Mass Effect Legendary Edition Day. Fantastic. I was up way too late or early as you were playing Mass Effect 1 and falling in love all over again. So, you know what? To wake up, get to be on Breakfast with Boom after playing fantastic game. This doesn't get much better. So I'm ready to jump in these topics. We got Crispy here. We got Mr. Bad Bit. Life is good. Let's do this.
Nice. Well, thanks so much for being here, brother. Definitely going to get a chance to talk about everything that's going on. Next up, obviously he's represented in, well, he is a representative of PlayStation Nation and has been doing one hell of a job on his weekly podcast called The Trophy Room. Joe, welcome back, brother.
What up? What up? I am happy to be here today. I'm happy to talk Mass Effect. I downloaded it this morning. Things are good. Things are right in this world today. I feel it. I feel at home here. I'm staring at Mass Effect right now. The home screen. It's welcoming.
Isn't it just make you smile? Isn't it just like it's crazy? We're gonna get into exactly what the big feelings that we're getting from this game. It's certainly the feels is something we're gonna be talking about. But let me get into Crispy Bomb. Thank you so much for being here, brother. How the heck are you? How is the best voice in podcasting?
Good morning, everybody. What is up? I got my coffee ready. We are ready to roll. Mass Effect Legendary. Might not have much to say about it, except let's just bring up that it's an old game, people. We're not supposed to like this.
That's true.
I love it.
So. Thanks for the reminder, Crispy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, just throwing it out there,
Yeah, man. We're not supposed to like it. It's old, and that means it's bad.
Well, listen, obviously it's an old game, so it sucks. No, actually, we're going to get into it, but I have to shout out a couple of people that are in here. Your brother, Steel Rain, says, keep it live, raw and uncut, as your buddy and partner in Living Split Screen, which you guys are going to be back at it tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, my brother, my neighbor from around the block, Neo GameSpark, is here. Neo, we got to get you on this program, brother. How the heck are you? And I hope that you are doing well. But listen, let's get into Mass Effect Legendary Edition. This is a game. I don't think there is one person that's a gamer that loves RPGs, that has an affection for BioWare, did not want to see this released. And here we are, after all of the waiting, after all of the pleading and the begging and the kicking and screaming, we are playing, at least I hope that you're playing, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Now, Pong, I want to go to you first because you kind of said something that sparked a real big smile in me when you were talking about your opinions on the feelings that you're getting on a game that launched in 2007. It just goes to show you the medium that we are all a part of in gaming. Isn't it just incredible? And I think that it is as important as reading one of your favorite books or seeing one of your favorite films. It just brings a smile to your face. And you know what? For me personally, talking about it, watching the footage, playing, I actually had goosebumps. And that is something that I'm happy to say actually happened. What are your thoughts on what they were able to do with bringing back Mass Effect, the trilogy, but more importantly, your experience with ME1?
Well, like we were talking in the green room, Boom, I the smile did not leave my face from the time that I fired it up last night. It is an incredible feeling when a game actually surpasses that old nostalgia feeling, because it doesn't happen very often. I think you said, Boom, BioShock for you, and I would absolutely agree. There are just very few games that live up to the old hype that still lives on inside your memories. But this version right here, last night, when the music hit, when I saw the first relay jump, just absolutely, like you said, Boom, brought back a flood of those, just the timeless feelings that Mass Effect brings. This game truly is timeless for me. Okay, this is one of the greatest sci-fi stories in all of media. In all, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you're talking about, movies, books, it doesn't matter. It is one of the greatest sci-fi stories ever told across the trilogy. And of course, as a Team ME1 person, it has even, a bigger special place in my heart, because I still believe ME1 to be the best out of the bunch, because it's set up everything to come. And so for
I
me,
can see a hashtag
yes,
cancel Pong Soul
correct.
starting to trend on social media.
Yes, I know that will be a forever battle, ME1 versus ME2. But again, it doesn't matter where you fall in that. The entire trilogy itself is just such a fantastic piece of storytelling. It is pinnacle BioWare. It is one of the games that I think are one of the games overall that when somebody asks me what they need to play, this is one of those series that I say, hey, if you haven't experienced it, you have to go back. And I'm so extremely happy and actually a little bit jealous of all the people that get to experience Mass Effect for the first time in this light, because this version right here, what they've done with it, I know some people, would have liked to see them do a full remake instead of just a remaster. But what they did with this game to bring it up to date is nothing short of miraculous. Again, when you're looking at what, again, ME1 is Unreal 3, and they kept it that way. But again, to bring it to this light and to fix some of the combat issues that everybody can agree ME1 had, to bring it up, especially on the Series X console, to 120 frames per second at 1440. It is such a buttery smooth experience that new people jumping into this, even if you don't have the 120, the 4K 60 is just ridiculous.
I mean, just look at this. Just look at the screen.
Right. To go back, and if you do side by sides, the side by sides don't do it justice until you see it in motion and until you feel it. Right. It's just a whole new level of experience with.
I mean, you could see the mesh on his armor.
Correct.
I mean, it's just crazy.
It's gorgeous. But the story's still there. The characters are still there, which is what made this one of, again, top 5 for me all time video game series, right? This is one of those special things that you have to experience. If you are a sci-fi lover, if you are somebody who just enjoys the RPG experience, that you don't get much better than this. And in fact, I would argue probably we haven't gotten better than this yet, as far as a sci-fi version, a sci-fi genre RPG goes. I think this is the pinnacle, and I think it has yet to be beat in terms of quality, and to bring it forward and allow more people to experience it, and all of us that did experience it go back and relive why we love it. Again, I'm falling in love all over again. It's truly special. And I can't say anything more than it's just special. And everybody, please, if you have any inkling, go play this, because it is an absolute amazing game.
Yeah, no, 100%. This is something, like I said, I would dare say, and Joe, I want to bring you into the conversation here, because I'm going to mention Star Wars. I would dare say that this trilogy is as important to the medium of storytelling as the first 3 Star Wars films. And I would dare anyone to challenge that, because this is the pinnacle BioWare that unfortunately we do not have currently. Right? This is
Yeah.
a BioWare that made a story that did something so incredible, that your choices in this game made such an incredible difference in like the end story in 3, that it made you wonder why you made these choices. Did you save Rex, or did you, on your first crew, who did you let die? Was it Ashley? I mean, this time I'm gonna save Ashley because I didn't originally, and I played Mass Effect 1 3 times, and I'm doing things I'm going to make sure that I didn't do originally. I'm going to make sure, even if I feel wrong about the choice, I just want to see it from a different perspective. Joe, I know that you haven't gotten far in it. You're looking at the screen. You got the helmet. You're probably ordering the Omni Blade as we speak because of me. How happy are you right now?
I think you're onto something. Mass Effect's real special. Like, I think we'll see it in a bigger screen for sure. I think the IP is too strong for it just to be on games, or in games. But like, this is our, for all intents and purposes, this is like our Star Trek for games, right? Like, to me, to me, even when I take a look at like good sci-fi or science, fantasy, it's like Star Wars, Star Trek, and then Mass Effect. Like, these are the pinnacles. Mass Effect's just so well written for the most part that it's just the writing more than anything, the stories, the characters, no touch up, no remaster needed there. Right, everything just feels like it should, because it's just so incredibly well written. It lasts the test of time. So, me looking at this footage right now of the remaster of Mass Effect 1, it's pretty damn impressive, man. This looks really freaking good. So I'm really happy and excited to really jump back into it, especially like the lighting. I'm a big sucker for lighting. The lighting is just so good that, man, it really helps bring out all the characters in the world as well. It's a special series for a lot of people. Same here. Mass Effect 2 is the best because, listen,
Oh,
we
there's
all
no
love
doubt Mass Effect 2 is the best.
Yeah,
Yes.
we all love a Star Wars, Pong.
Don't start this.
We all know Empire is the best Star Wars.
Oh, absolutely,
right?
of course.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't care what New Hope started. It's Empire that's freaking dope. So yeah, definitely. I'm so pumped to see this game. I can't wait to relive all the memories and to beat everything with FemShep this time around. I'm not gonna actually do Dude Shep. I'm gonna just be playing Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, just completing the whole story, from front to back. So yeah, I'm so excited for this, man. And I get to see the love of my life, Miranda. Yeah.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Listen, let's get Crispy in on the conversation. Crispy, look, we were talking about this before, that it's very rare to get a game that gets you in the feels on a remake. And I was saying, Pong had mentioned it. I said it was BioShock for me. I remember playing the BioShock remake and just sitting back in my chair and just smiling from ear to ear, remembering all of the terror that I felt, because the game was survival horror almost, and it had all of this incredible new stuff that I never did in the gaming before, and I got a chance to experience that once again with the HD collection, a trilogy that came out, and I played through it and I could not stop playing it. And we have Mass Effect in front of us, and this is, I mean, like I said, I don't know what 2 and 3 are going to bring. I can only imagine it's going to be better, but my God, this game, I mean, listen, you're looking at the footage. It is just, I would dare say it's on the verge of a masterpiece level. What are your thoughts on them bringing this back for us?
Well, time to make people jealous, because I didn't get into 360 until 2008, about the same time Gears 2 came out. So I played Gears 2, and that's the game that gave me the feels. That's why I want the game to get a remaster. So if you ever wonder why the heck I still am pushing this, because I really want to play that game updated. Besides that, never played Mass Effect ever. So this is a brand spanking new game to me.
You are
So,
lucky, brother. You are lucky.
so I wanted to make sure, because I haven't purchased it yet. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, because I feel like it's gonna come to EA Play Game Pass at some point. You know what I mean? Like I got that feeling, but I also wanted to see your guys' thoughts on it thus far. And the game looks incredible, especially if it's still in Unreal 3. That's pretty ridiculous. So this engine, that's why we say that this Unreal is one of the best engines. I mean, it is literally the pinnacle of gaming, in my opinion, at this point, because of what it's done over the years and how it's enhanced everything. So, I'm looking forward to it. Just at what point, I don't know when I want to really buy in for something with, that's not necessarily a brand new IP or anything like that, but I still is new to me. So I'm interested, and I'm glad it's exactly what you guys were expecting, and that makes me want to get it more.
It's funny, someone in the chat, the realness said, I had to put Miranda in her place. She thought she was running my ship. I love hearing those stories. That is hilarious. Joe, you must be breaking your heart. Hey, let's welcome back. He hasn't been here in a couple of weeks. I'm taking care of some personal things. BitCloud, how the hell are you, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
Good. Listen, brother, we missed you.
Thank you. Good to see everybody. Hope you're all doing well.
Yeah, good. Well, listen, you came in on the perfect conversation. We're talking Mass Effect. Did you get a chance to fire it up yet? Is it something you're going to be playing?
I'm not really a Mass Effect guy, so I didn't really buy it at all. But
Okay.
I've mostly been on Mortal Kombat. I've mostly been on Resident Evil, Village and everything.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I'm just for one of the big bosses as Chris, so I'm close to getting to the end of that, but I don't know when I'm going to get back to it, because Mass Effect is probably going to take over my life. That is for sure. I want to welcome the near 200 people already here, and obviously we hope that you are enjoying Mass Effect. I will do my BioWare store service announcement. I don't know if the helmet is available, but the Omniblade, the wearable light up Omniblade with stand, is available. Mine is on the way. Joe probably just bought his. It's $60. And if you're a Mass Effect fan, I think it's something you have to have for sure. Definitely go and check that out. But let's get into one of the opening topics. Obviously there's been a lot of talk about Alan Wake's sequel that apparently is being moved to active production, no longer pre-production. And in the story that I pulled from WCCF Tech, Remedy Entertainment has a lot on its plate, and the company's most recent earnings report included details on how many projects are progressing. Now, for those who haven't been keeping up with the news of the gaming world, Remedy currently has 5 projects on their plate. Crossfire X, which is of course a free-to-play co-op game, well, hold on, let me just rewind this. It's Crossfire X, and they are literally just wrapping that up. They have a free-to-play game coming out called Vanguard, and they have a pair of titles that are being funded by Epic Games, and heavily rumored is set to be in the Alan Wake universe and be the next big thing. There's also a fresh IP that they're working on, which we don't know nothing about. Now, the Crossfire X project is nearly complete, like I said a moment ago, and they are ready to ramp up production on their other new projects. Now, here's a direct quote from Remedy, and somebody doing something in the background, like I hear
a little brushing.
Yeah, a little brushing or something. Please mute your mic if you don't mind.
Sorry.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so here's a direct quote from Remedy. It says, almost all of our Eternal Control developers have moved on to work on the other Remedy projects, including a new exciting early phase project. The Crossfire team is finalizing the single-player operations for Smilegate's Crossfire X and Crossfire HD, with both of these games launching in 2021. This is a significant year for Crossfire. Remedy's AAA game project with Epic Games is soon moving into full production, and the second smaller scale game continues in full production mode. With Vanguard, our free-to-play co-op game project, we now have defined many of the core elements of the game, development progress, at a good place. Internal playtesting continues, and we are starting the next phase of our closed game testing. Let me start, of course, with Pong Soul. Listen, I'm very interested in Crossfire X's single player campaign. It's supposed to rival Call of Duty. It's something that we did not expect to happen because Crossfire, if you folks don't know, is a big game on the other side of the world. And it's strictly multiplayer. And to get a single player campaign done by Remedy. Listen, folks, I don't know what your opinion is on Remedy. Maybe you don't like Alan Wake. Maybe you don't like Control. But I love the way that they tell stories. And to see this team, who normally makes third person, story driven, over the shoulder kind of games, to see them do a first person shooter that is very similar to like a Call of Duty campaign has me stoked. And it's coming this year to Xbox as an exclusive. First of all, Pong, what are your thoughts on Crossfire X? And more importantly, how excited are you to continue the story of Alan Wake?
Yeah, exactly. Boom. Like we were saying, I'm also a fan of Remedy and their storytelling. So I know people are kind of divided on Remedy, but I'm in the camp that I love what they do and I love what they bring to the table each and every time. It's something different. It's a new experience. So for me, I'm absolutely have Crossfire X on my wish list, and it's been on my wish list for a long time, ever since the first videos came out. Now the multiplayer was developed by somebody else, and it was underwhelming, to say the least. When I played the beta, was not impressed by it at all. However, this single player campaign looks like another Remedy classic, and it's interesting, like you said, that it's first person, for a team that's well known for their third person view. But man, the action that they showed in what we've seen so far just looks out of this world. And I really can't wait to get my hands on Crossfire X. And then of course, Alan Wake 2. I mean, again, one of my favorite games from the 360 era. Alan Wake has deserved a sequel for a long, long time. And the fan base that is out there is rabid. Anybody who loved Alan Wake loves it to their core. It is one of those games that, again, hit for a lot of people. And so to know that Alan Wake 2 might finally be a reality is something that I think a lot of people should be looking forward to. And I know it's going to go multi-plat, and I know it was an Xbox exclusive, but again, those types of games, I am all for more people experiencing. And I think Alan Wake is going to create a whole new set of fans when they come out with Alan Wake 2. It is something that you have to play to understand. It is one of those stories that hits home in a lot of ways, not to mention the atmosphere that they give us. And again, I think that's something that Remedy is so good at. Say what you want about their games. I know people have had issues with each one of their games that have come out, but their atmosphere that they create is so unique in each game that I truly appreciate what they try to do. And so for me, I'm looking forward to getting back into Alan Wake world, that dark, deep, just dripping with different feelings that Alan Wake provided. So for me, I am extremely excited to hear this team expanding, and talk of a new IP, man. Sign me up, because again, each and every experience that they've given me has been different from the last in some way, shape, or form. And I know that, Alan Wake, they had the crossover with Control. I have yet to play that DLC. So, but I know that it's kind of the same kind of world, but again, each world is so unique that I know that I'm going to get something different and special when I walk into a Remedy game. So a new IP excites me just as much as the rest, but Alan Wake 2 has to be my tops, even though Crossfire has been on my wish list for a long time. Alan Wake 2, again, just a special game that I've been waiting for a sequel to jump back into for a very long time. So I'm all on board. Boom, give me more Remedy. I'm there. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Joe, let's get you in on this conversation. One of the things that you get out of an Alan Wake tale is something
Mhm.
that you are very familiar with because you are a diehard Sony fan, and it's something that I really enjoy about Sony's first party is their over-the-shoulder, story-driven, adult-themed content. But more
Mhm.
importantly, it what I enjoy is the character building that comes along with that, and you're going to get that from Remedy for sure. What are your thoughts on first them making a first-person game, which is freaking crazy. I love seeing stereotypical developers do something out of what we're used to. You know, we saw that with Killzone, right? They're not making Killzone, they're making Horizon. It was a masterpiece, right? And we're gonna see that with Remedy going from third person over the shoulder to actually first person, you know, Call of Duty type of combat. But for you, with Epic now backing their projects, now they have the money. This is like Microsoft teaming up with Remedy. They have the Epic backing. What do you think we're going to get, and how big of a deal could an actual Alan Wake 2 be for the industry?
I think one of the games that definitely since they purchased the rights back from it
Yep.
is we're going to get an Alan Wake remaster / remake.
Oh yes, please, thank you.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because you know the one thing that I hear a lot of diehard Alan Wake fans say is like, man, this game is so good and it was underappreciated.
100%.
And I really think I really think they love that universe. And with, you know, gang, it's been over 50 years and it's on Game Pass or whatever, so you have time. Control being in that universe really does say that they want to have they want to have something here bigger than what we're used to video games being. So you know, I really like that MCU-ish thing that they're going for here, where you're telling different stories and different types of games in one cohesive universe is exciting. And having the success of Control means that there's a high probability that there's going to be a success in an Alan Wake remake or remaster. And it gets people into that series. So I definitely see an Alan Wake remaster or remake coming alongside of Alan Wake 2. I think that's the thing they're definitely working with Epic on at the moment. And I'm super excited, man. That's awesome. That's a game that I missed my radar. I know my co-host Kyle absolutely loves Control and loves Alan Wake. So I know he's excited. I'm not. I don't know if I'm like over the moon on whatever the Crossfire X game, because I played that multiplayer. And I know it's not 1-to-1, but man, that gameplay sucked. It was
Yeah,
not
but
good.
you know what? I you know, just to defend the Crossfire X situation is that
Yeah.
Smilegate is who did the multiplayer, and we
Sure.
understand that that's not great, and we but Remedy does have a reputation of taking games and storytelling to another level. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised.
And that's why, like, I have no doubt that, like, when it comes to Crossfire X, that campaign, the story is going to be good. It's just like, to me, it's such a strange concept for one team to work on another team's engine in their game. You know what I mean? It is something I need to see more than just like flashy clips. I need to see really like, how does this gameplay set itself apart from like what we see from a Call of Duty campaign, which is arguably kind of like the same thing, right? Like, campaign's great, but am I remembering it? I'm remembering, you know, the multiplayer. And so I'm also interested in the free to play thing that's happening behind the scenes.
You're talking about Vanguard.
Yeah, I'm really excited overall about the growth of this company, because I'll be honest with you, I think they are one of the only true AAA developers, AA, whatever have you, that are really doing really risky things with high budget games. We don't see that typically. A lot of AAA games are just very safe. You know what they're going to be. Remedy games are going to be way more abstract, not just the not just the gameplay elements, but also the story elements too. So I'm really excited for the future of Remedy. This is it looks really good on their end, and I know like rumor has it they're working on some stuff with Sony as well. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I like that they're a company that doesn't want to be owned and they're willing to work with other partners as well. That's really
Well,
exciting.
I think what they're getting is the best of both worlds. They're saying
Mhm.
they're staying independent, which is something
Yeah.
that is important to them because then, they could have already been purchased by Microsoft, and maybe their conversation happened and they were like,
Oh, yeah.
no, but they can also do team ups. They're
Mhm.
working with Microsoft on Crossfire X single player campaign. They're working with Epic Games to bring 2 high profile games, and they're supposed to be 2 AAA experiences, one of which we know is Alan Wake 2. We don't know what the other one is. And obviously that's being funded by Epic Games, who literally has just as much money as anybody else in the business because of the money they bring in from Fortnite each and every month. So it's going to be. I'm happy to see Remedy is still a thing, but more importantly, and I'm going to go to Crispy Bomb on this next comment that I'm going to make. If you look at the screen, most of us are enjoying and literally has goosebumps playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition, right? This, we were talking early on, is BioWare at their absolute finest. This was peak prime BioWare. That BioWare has been long gone, and I don't know if we're ever going to get it back. But when we talk about Remedy, this is a company that still has it and did it just recently with Control, which I absolutely loved. And now we're gonna get a first person shooter, Crispy, but we're also going to potentially get an Alan Wake 2. And what's great about this whole scenario is they're funded properly. Microsoft is fitting the bill for their first person shooter. Epic's going to fit the bill for the Alan Wake. But more importantly, and I think this is the real crux of the conversation, they still have it in regards to storytelling. What are your thoughts on or excitement levels for both of these games?
I didn't get into the Crossfire multiplayer. I didn't bother. Not really my jam in
Mine either.
multiplayer, so like I was like, I'm not even gonna bother. But I was like, oh, I see you, Remedy, when they showed, the what it was about 2-3 minutes, what a freaking year back, and it was interesting. I mean, I think they're gonna bring some elements to a story in first person that maybe nobody else would try, and that's what I think we have to look at Remedy. Like Remedy, if for me, like Alan Wake never caught my eye, and now that it's like a game that if they remade it, would I think about playing it? Absolutely, because not only that, I could play it with my girlfriend because she loves those type of games, and I believe she said she beat that game, so she would definitely go back to that game. But me, I'm hit or miss with them. Like I played like halfway through Quantum Break, but like the weirdness of the the TV show I didn't get it. It kind of threw me off. You know what I mean? And it's like the one thing you got to give Remedy credit is they beat to their own drum, man. Like they really push the boundaries of what you think is like an acceptable video game. You know what I mean? Like they do things that you wouldn't expect, and you need that. I mean, that's innovation. So to get backed by Epic now, hopefully they're still able to just do everything they've been doing, release if they sign exclusive little deals, fine, but hopefully they're able to release just like they have been at every platform. And they're a gem, and I mean if they make a type of multiverse type thing, who knows, I might get really interested into something like that as time goes on, and maybe go back to some of these games and give them a shot. And that's the beauty of what they have. They're still playable whenever you want, and like we say, if you haven't experienced it, it's new to you. So that's something I could look forward to. And at the same time, maybe they could fix some of these things. That is the reason why I didn't go into Control. I was like, I saw too many people having like these issues, as I'd watch them, and they'd be like, what the heck? And, and it's just like, I don't want to experience that. I'd rather just wait and see if they, fix it. And I kind of wish I did that with other games. And that's kind of what the beauty of having so many games in Game Pass now. It's like, okay, if something's really like messed up with it, I can just put it aside and go back to it. And if I'm going to go purchase a game, then, if it's got, I haven't touched Cyberpunk, by the way, since all
Yeah,
those
I'm
things
actually mine's still in the cellophane, dude. I'm waiting for the next gen patch.
Yeah, and that's what I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I started it. I started seeing some of the bugs. I was like, you know what? You already bought it, Chris. You threw yourself in there. I spent like 5 hours in it, and I was like, this thing's gonna do something so crazy, and I just don't want to deal with it. I'm just gonna put it aside, wait for them to get it right. You know what I mean? Because once you get into a game and then all of a sudden you have some game breaking glitch or something like that, and it, you know, things happen throughout, like it gets annoying. Like it's just like one of those things, like you know, I'm immersed in the world and then you make me not. Then you make me realize it's a video game. You know what I mean? And that's what some people experience. Like I didn't feel like it was a video game. I felt like I was a part of the world, and then you made me realize it was a video game, and that can ruin it for some people. So some games I put to the side. You know, I already bought it, and they're working on it, so I'm gonna wait it out.
Yeah, no. Listen, there's certainly nothing wrong with that. I played through Control. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I got through most of the DLC. I'm half through the Alan Wake DLC, which is trippy. It's definitely trippy, but the fact that Alan Wake is there, I mean, that just is crazy. And I love this. I love this kind of storytelling. I love the I'm not sure who said it, the MCU like kind of situation. I'm all into that for sure. Bitco, let's get your opinion on this. You know, obviously, you know, Remedy is still one of the best storytellers in the business, at least in my opinion. Some people will argue that, and that's fine. What are your excitement levels to see what an Alan Wake 2 properly funded on next gen consoles, and more importantly, are you interested to see the story they could potentially tell in a first person shooter?
So for the whole Crossfire X thing, kind of with Joe with the multiplayer, I wasn't really sold on that at all. The thing is, when you have Call of Duty and you're saying that you want to take out Call of Duty, that's already setting off like kind of the bad vibes, because usually when they do stuff like that, it ends up being a carbon copy to an extent. And usually that's what they have to do to, you know, try to hit the same cylinders to appease that audience. Now, me personally, I mean, it could be great. It could be not. Like, it's hard to really say. But I'm not really, like, super invested into it at all. But if I was to say if I was invested in anything, it would definitely be this whole Alan Wake thing. I thought Alan Wake was amazing for the 360 back when it dropped. I remember when they first did the Super Slim for the 360, and they showed off Alan Wake, and it was at E3. And that was a big deal. So just looking at that game and just seeing what we got recently, like, you guys remember the amazing Resident Evil 2 remake?
Yeah, who could forget it?
Imagine that for next gen consoles, more times, etc. Like that right there would be a treat. And I had the conversation like this with one of the Housemarque devs on the channel. We were talking about, actually, no, I'm sorry, one of the Blue Point developers on the channel. We were talking about how, you know, how a lot of games could benefit from a remake of some sorts and just, you know, be a completely different experience. I'm just saying, when you combine the new assets that everybody has on their sides with 3D audio, you know, 4K, the ray tracing, super fast load times, this game can be like next tier. Especially if they really want to push the horror aspect. I think it'd be amazing. So yeah, I'm all in for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, I'm interested to see. You know, I like. Listen, we all like classic IPs that have long tails. Mass Effect is one of those games. It just happens to be on the screen. I like the idea of Remedy attempting to take on something that we've never seen them do, and I think that is what is magical about gaming. Right, like, and like I said, I keep harking back. I know a lot of people did not dig Horizon Zero Dawn. You know what? If you didn't, I hear you. But Aloy is one of my favorite PlayStation exclusive characters. She just resonated with me, and I love the innocence from where it started to where it ends. And I can't wait to see where the story takes her next.
You know, it goes back to I mean, cut you off. It goes back to the Order 1886. That world. It's just screaming for another game. Like that world alone deserves another game. It's so good. Like what they've done, like, you know, just that style, that tension, you know, that uneasiness as you go through that particular world. If they really got the opportunity to push that and really correct the mistakes, Boom, they could have done something spectacular. Like,
you know what, you can pop on. Listen, folks, the Order 1886 is probably $1. So you won't be breaking the bank. I highly encourage you, if you're a Sony fan and you like first of all, it's still probably the best graphics on the console. Like, I would dare say it's an old game that still looks great. Now, granted, there are some playability issues. You know, the werewolf encounters, you know, they're pretty much the same. But
Yeah.
if you're into story, you can't go wrong with that. And again, I right there with you. I would love to see the cliffhanger ending with the Order 1886. It's almost a shame that we'll never get that. But again, you know, you never can really say never. But I definitely want to move on to the next topic, folks. And let me see what we got going. What are we going to talk about next here? You know what? Being that we have two of the biggest PlayStation guys in the community here, I kind of want to bring up the PlayStation Studios and their 25 plus games in the work. And from what we understand, half of those games are new IPs. And that is exciting if you are someone like myself who appreciates a lot of their first party exclusives, which is why I continue to support a PlayStation. Now, in a topic that I pulled once again from my very good friends of the show, WCCF Tech, the topic of console exclusive has become a hot topic once again. Now, obviously, with Microsoft snapping up numerous studios like Double Fine and Obsidian and Bethesda, Sony seemingly has been consolidating their focus on bigger, safer projects. Once the newly expanded Xbox Game Studios gets up to speed, will Microsoft be able to outplay Sony? Well, only time is going to tell. But in a new interview with Wired, PlayStation Studios headman Herman Hulst hinted at the scope of what Sony is currently working on, and it seems that the PlayStation 5 owners have a lot to look forward to. According to Hulst, and of course the story, PlayStation Studios has over 25 titles in the works for the PlayStation 5, and almost half of these games, folks, are new IPs, which cover a wide range, including games that are quote unquote big, small, and from different genres. Now, of course, there are a lot of those games that are probably still years away. It's a typical Sony trait, but when they deliver in a big way. Now, the Wired article seems to reconfirm that Sony is very, and of course, the people behind Horizon are really firm that Horizon Forbidden West is still on track for 2021 release. Now, here's what Herman Hulst had to say on the Horizon Forbidden West front. I spent some time yesterday with Horizon Forbidden West for the first time in 7 or 8 months. To step away and come back to it, talk about giving me a gift. Folks, this gives me goosebumps because, like I said, I have an affection for Aloy because of the character that she becomes in that game. Joe, we got to go to you first on this because you talked about this on the trophy room with Kyle, and obviously I want to get your opinion on it. Should PlayStation fans get excited that they have 25 titles in development?
Yeah, man, this is reassurance, man. It's you know, look, we've had a tough couple of months, and when I mean tough, I mean it's been silent. It's been, you know, Sony ain't talking to us like they used to, right? So, you know, seeing Microsoft make all these big moves, buy Bethesda, seeing, you know, the show on Game Pass, these things kind of hurt a little bit, stings at the very least for Sony fans, and you know, us kind of wondering, hey, where's our announcements? Because it seems like every week Microsoft has something to say, and you come out and you're like, we have a new sneaker that we've partnered with or whatever. You know, what is there to really look forward to? And this little thing is PlayStation bringing out the people that need to be brought out to talk about what they have in store before they show us stuff in probably July. So when I take a look at what they got planned here with 25 titles in development, half of which being new IP, really, really great. But the one thing that I love what Herman Hulst says is that it's big, small, different genres. And I think, you know, it tackles a lot what the Schreier article said. And even Schreier came out to kind of course correct with him saying, listen, Sony isn't risk averse. We're taking risks, right? We're seeing, them make the big games like a Miles Morales or Horizon Zero Dawn. You're seeing them, make small experiences. And we take a look at like the Kina devs, partnering with them, Sifu, Solar Ash, just to name a few.
Yes.
And then we see like different genres, right? And I think you take a look at Housemarque and Returnal. That's a very different game than what we see AAA games being. It's a roguelike, a AAA roguelike. Again, there's never been a AAA to that scale game. And so that's awesome to see. And to see them then go, we're also going to partner with, studios like Haven and studios like Firewalk, and we're going to be funding those studios. That's awesome, because now you're building relationships from the ground up. So this is a lot of reassurance. And I think a lot of it we've seen from like games like Returnal, where it's a great example of them partnering with a small team, it being a different type of genre, and it being successful. And that's the thing that I feel like us PlayStation fans can look forward to, is that Sony's making these deals to bring us these different type of experiences. And the last thing I do want to talk about is the Kina devs, because Jeff Grier, one of the co-founders, was just like already talking about game 2. So this is a really good PR piece, because it's really reassuring fans. Don't worry, we have stuff to show you in the summer, and we have stuff beyond to look forward to as well. The thing that really does get me excited here is when they say big IP or new IP, it's big, small, and in between. That's really awesome stuff. You really want to, give people not just the illegal word on the trophy room, AAA banger, but we also want to give them the indies or the AA stuff like a Returnal. Like, it's really awesome. So to me, this gives a lot of reassurance to PlayStation fans. We're then now seeing at least a very, very, very far look or glimpse of what they have in store for us for the next, let's just say, 2 to 5 years. It's going to be great. Because even when you break that down of like, let's just say it's like, a 4-year span, you're still getting 5 games every year from them, whether it's partnerships or whether it's from the ground up. That's awesome. We're seeing Sony being really aggressive. And this doesn't, this isn't even into account with the deals that they've made with like, a Square Enix. So this is really great news, man. This is great. And PlayStation fans definitely needed this dub. So I'll take it where I can,
No, I absolutely agree. Big Cat, let's bring you into the conversation. Okay, so the one thing that I took away from this article, for me, was that Sony is still going to be what Sony has been. And what I mean simply by that is we know that they're going to be delivering on the AAA bangers, right? We understand that games are going to be years out. That's just I saw your face, Joe. You heard what I said. But it's nice to know that the quote unquote weirdness that was reported they were going to go away from is being talked about, where, hey, listen, yes, the big AAA games that you know and love, those franchises, those are coming back. But we also have smaller ones. We also have medium-sized ones. We have ones that are considered to be different. So you're not going to get 20, 25, $50 million games. You're not. You're probably going to get about maybe 10 of those 25 to be these big budgeted Sony first person, over the shoulder, story driven games that I buy their consoles for. But the other 15 games are going to be games like a Returnal, right? Games like a smaller dev that maybe has something that Sony saw, was like, we like this, here's some money, make that game exclusive. What are your thoughts on this interview with Herman Holst? And what are your opinions on what Sony fans can expect from these 25 games?
Well, I mean, God, there's so much to say here. So, as you already know, Microsoft, one of the biggest things Microsoft has going for them is transparency. Like every day, they're very open with their fans. Sony's still in the laid back type of strat, where they don't really say much on social media. They'll say the least on here, but when they do drop something, everybody will be excited. But that's kind of what Sony's that's kind of how Sony usually operates. They're just so in their own ways in that particular aspect, so they let things kind of just get to where it is. But to go and go with what they're doing and how they go about it, I mean, God, there's so many things they're doing. You have the new strat where they basically funding games for a developer, especially like they did for Death Stranding. Now you're seeing that with Haven Studios, who was Jade Raymond, who was actually,
and I think whatever she's working on is going to be special. I love Jade Raymond.
Yeah.
I think she's a powerhouse in the industry, to be honest with you.
I mean, this woman gave us Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
Who knows?
She also worked on a Splinter
on.
Cell. A lot of people don't give her credit for that, but she worked on one of the best Splinter Cells in the series. So yeah, I think she's something special.
Oh yeah, and just seeing the excitement from her in general when she when it was confirmed, that just speaks volumes to me. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as like the AA games or whatnot, I mean, look at Returnal. Returnal is Housemarque's first ever AAA game. And Housemarque gave us Resogun, and Resogun still looks good to this day. That's insane.
That's probably going to be an all-time classic. I mean, that was a launch title for PlayStation 4 and still plays fantastic all these years later. Yep.
But one of the things I've been talking about, and this is where I think it goes right into those 15 games. Joe, you already know what I'm about to say. I could have sworn, because I see a certain studio constantly tweeting this. Resistance Fallen Man remake.
They need to stop the BS already and just deliver, man. I don't want to hear anything else. I'm
calling it.
Yeah.
And I know y'all don't want to hear it. That's gonna be a PSVR game.
I hope not, dude.
I'm thinking it is. Because Insomniac has multiple VR teams.
They do.
And
I mean, listen, if it's a launch title, Joe, for the PSVR 2.0, I'm all in. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want it to be a cheapy experience.
I think because even they kind of, I don't know. No, it was Upload VR. It was okay. I take that back. But even if it's the tech inside the PSVR 2, it kind of gives me the feelings that Insomniac are definitely working on some PSVR stuff. And I definitely feel like with Resistance 3, remember the aim, thing?
Yeah.
It was ahead of its time, man. I remember going, wow, you could play this game both off VR and in VR. And I truly think what PlayStation needs to do with some of their games, because I think they're going to have a balancing act between VR, developing for VR and developing for PS5, is that why not just make them the same game and have it so like the next Resistance is, fingers crossed, on PS5 and PSVR 2, so that you're still getting money on the top from VR fans. And still getting money from.
Dude, I agree. I see that, because I can see Sony announcing, "Hey guys, by the way, Resident Evil Village, that's coming."
I was literally just going to say that. I think that is the best way to attack it. I think that when you have an option where, if you are someone that's it's a win for PlayStation fans. That's the end of the story, because we're going to get Resistance Fall of Man, whether it's a remake, whether it's an HD, remake, whatever. It's going to be incredible, right?
Yeah.
But giving us the options for people like me and you and Joe, who really love that series, to say, okay, we're going to give you 2 ways to play for the one price. If you support PlayStation VR, PS, by the way, like Resident Evil 7, it's there. Yeah. Go crazy. But if you want to play it for, you're not a VR supporter and you still want to enjoy this, here you go, play it regular. I think that is
saving it. I honestly think they're saving that announcement for VR's official reveal.
I can't wait. I hope it's the C3.
Yeah, because we already saw the controllers, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody who's played on PS5, y'all know how the importance of haptics and how they act and how they feel, especially if you're playing Village on PS5. It's insane that with haptics. So they can really do a lot with that, with that game in general. But aside from Resistance, What else do we know that was or we heard reports of? We heard reports of Silent Hills. Last time we heard anything Silent Hills, they said wait until the summer, right? Remember correctly? It's like you'll find something in the summer. So there's that. Also, and it's funny because as soon as I looked into it a little bit more, it not too long ago, they stated that supposedly Blue Point was looking to make this Metal Gear Solid remake for PS5.
Yeah, I mean, we've been hearing that. I just don't know where that is, and I don't know if they're a part of that anymore. You know, I'm you know, I would love it. I'm telling you right now, Metal Gear, my top 5 games of all time, Metal Gear Solid specifically. You know, the series is great, but
you know why
there's a reason why they're not adding themes here.
Yeah, you know why I would believe it, and I'm with Joe. There's a reason why too, but the reason why I would believe it completely. Konami pretty much told everybody, "Hey guys, if you guys want to make anything, just hit us up. Can you guys do it?" That's basically what they just call us. I mean, we destroyed Metal Gear to the point where we can't even look at the game no more. So how about this? You guys can take the game. You guys can make it any way you want, and we'll just, put a sign in the way for you. That's literally what they're doing. So I think, the possibilities is limitless at this time. Like Metal Gear Solid 4 redone for PS5.
I'd like that. I really enjoyed Metal Gear Solid 4. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. I'd love to see an HD version of that for the PlayStation 5. That would be great. And again, it'd be a big money maker for PlayStation, because obviously I think they'd probably charge $70, which would hurt me to spend, but it is what it is. Listen, let me grab Pong Soul's opinion, and we'll get Crispy, and we'll move on to the next. Pong, look, regarding this particular topic, there's a lot to get excited about if you are someone that supports the PlayStation brand in any way. Now, again, we don't know if this is, in this article, they say specifically, at least that's how I read it, as being PlayStation 5 games. So it may be looking very, very likely that PlayStation 4 gamers are going to eventually have to move over to new games. We're actually going to get into that particular topic regarding Battlefield 6 being announced for the old gen. I think a lot of people are up in arms over that, and we'll break down as to why that's happening. Are you excited to see what Sony's going to bring to the table and potentially bring back the weirdness that they're known for? And more importantly, what are your thoughts on what do you think they're actually making, and could they only be PlayStation 5 exclusives?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. I mean, I'm excited, of course. I mean, eventually, again, I always own both consoles at some point. So just because I chose Xbox out to get this gen does not mean that I'm not going to own a PlayStation 5. I want to. Forspoken is actually the game that might get me to buy it. So when I hear this, I mean, again, I don't know what... it's funny, all the doom and gloom and the naysayers and all that kind of stuff on both sides. It's always funny when they take a look at what's happening across the industry, and just because Xbox at the current moment has been taking most of the headlines with all the big stuff that they've been doing, that people came out of the woodwork and were obviously again doom and gloom for PlayStation all of a sudden. I mean, again, are we kidding? I don't know how these people kid themselves when we know that Sony has the studios, and we know that Sony already has the master plan when it comes to making games that people want. I mean, again, they've got the master plan for the third person over the shoulder action, story driven style games, that they're masters of it, but they've got the studios in place, and we know for a fact that they've been expanding these studios. So this doesn't shock me at all when they come out and say 25. It's great news. The industry is at its healthiest point at any time in history right now. There is more money,
I agree,
more people, more talent, more of us gamers than there ever have been. So of course Sony's got big plans. And so to hear that they got 25 games coming, I truly believe that they could be potentially talking about just exclusive Sony games. Sure, there might be some third-party deals in there, maybe some time stuff in there. Of course, we already know that's part of their MO and what across the industry what happens. So, but no, this is exciting to me. I love to hear that Sony is obviously out there and making more of the stuff that we love as gamers. Again, I consider myself a gamer. Yes, this generation, I have a preference for Xbox at the moment. Last generation was PlayStation. It does not matter. I just want to see more content and experience more unique worlds, as much as possible. That's what I'm here for. This is what I like. So I think from when you look at what they've got going on, we know the major franchises that they already have and that we know we're going to see. To hear Horizon is looking, better than ever, does not surprise me in the least. Horizon for me was my favorite Sony game of last gen. So I think that the world itself is so extremely detailed. Of course, who doesn't love dinosaurs, especially mech dinosaurs? Are you kidding me? It's a beautiful world, and Aloy.
I just keep thinking Dinobots. And
right, exactly. That's exactly what I thought of when I first saw that game, and it was kind of that same experience when I was playing it. Aloy is just a fantastic character. I love everything about that world, so I'm more than hyped for seeing what they do next there. Obviously, like BitCloud and 3-Bit mentioned, or 3-Bit, Jesus, Mr. Badbit. Too many bits around this world, I tell you. Joe, what you guys mentioned as far as Resistance coming back, I would love to see that. I hope it's not just VR. Resistance is one of my favorite franchises from the old PlayStation eras.
Yeah.
I mean, that game deserves to come back. I think it was underappreciated at its time, and when it went away, suddenly people were like, man, I really would like another Resistance game. So I think they really need to bring that back. I think that would be fantastic.
Yep.
And then hopefully, if this is a mix, like they said, of smaller games, AA games, indie games, AA games, AAA games, whatever you want to label them as, fantastic. I mean, great. The whole news story about them, moving away from indie games, that was never going to be a reality. Sure, are they tightening the belts here and there? Is obviously Jim, cutting some of the fat? Yes. Do I like to see that all the time? No, of course not, because I never want to see talent be let go. And, a lot, especially the Japan studio was a heartbreaker for me because those guys are extremely talented. But we knew for a fact that Sony wasn't going to totally get away from what made them huge. That would be a mistake of epic proportions for them to just say, nah, we're done trying different things now. We're just going to do what only makes us money and never think outside the box. I never believed that for a second, because that would be too big of a mistake. So I definitely expect to see some fantastic new stuff come out of Sony, whether it is from a second or third party deal. But again, with Returnal, we still get to see a glimpse of that. And obviously House Marquee being one of my favorite studios from Sony, even though they're not truly a Sony studio. Come on, they really are.
Which they really should be. It's almost
they should be. They should just put a ring on it and make it official at this point, because again, but I think Returnal showed a different, different path that they're still willing to take and put out there, and that's why I hope it succeeds. I know it's had its issues. It is a game that I definitely would probably pick up. I don't know if I'd pick it up at $70, but I know I would pick it up eventually and play it because I think it's unique in bringing that shoot 'em up experience to the third person over the shoulder, which is crazy that they were able to pull that off. It looks fantastic. So again, I think we're seeing all the signs there. Sony is in this game for the long haul. They're not going anywhere. This competition is just driving both parties at this point. And yes, of course, Xbox is now flexing the big bank. That's what we expected them to do all along. Anybody who knows Microsoft knows that's exactly what's going to happen when they go all in. They're all in at this point. But Sony is still has the mind share worldwide. They are still the king at the moment on top. And I don't see that changing at any point. Again, Microsoft's carving its own gigantic space and carving its own path and creating its own kind of playing field here. So I think that we're going to see all three, including Nintendo, in a better spot than any of them ever have been at any point in history. So this just falls in line with that. 25 new games. I expect to hear more as they make more deals and maybe fund a couple more studios to create content like they did with Jade Raymond's new studio. I expect to see more of that in the next year or two coming down the road. I think they're all heavily investing in this. So this is just great for us gamers. Again, my saying is the golden age of gaming. That's where we're at. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing here.
No, I absolutely agree. I think right now as a gamer, look, folks, look, I'm not going to tell you that you have to love or not one company or the other. I enjoy gaming, right? Yes, my preference is Xbox, but I'm very open. I mean, I just bought Pokemon Snap for Christ's sake, right? You know what I'm saying? Along with Judgment for the Xbox. So I play games on all consoles. I think that you're right. We are on to something, and I think that as a gamer, if you're someone that supports multiple consoles, and I said this before, I've said this 100 times, and I'll say it 100 times more. This generation, if you're a PlayStation gamer, and you got your PlayStation 5 and you're enjoying it, and good for you that you're enjoying the hell out of the console. I mean, it's still ugly, but it's a juggernaut. It has great experiences. I think that there is going to come a point, there is going to come a time that even if you are a diehard Sony guy or gal, you're going to look on the other side of the fence and you're going to say, man, I don't think that the grass is as green as ours, but God damn it, it looks good. And you're going to get yourself an Xbox. Now, what I think is going to sell is a $300 Xbox because, I mean, right now, there are more 120 frame per second games on the Series S, 3 times the amount than the PlayStation 5 has. So you're going to look at that and you say, wait a second, I can spend $300 and I think it's going to be $250 potentially during the holidays. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, and usually I am, but maybe. And you're going to see Game Pass, you're going to say, holy crap. They just released Starfield, Horizon 5, and Halo in September, October, November, and they have all these other games, and they're all in Game Pass. I think I'm going to have to go check that out as well. And I think this generation is going to have the biggest multi-plat homes in the history of gaming. We're going to see an era, something similar to what we saw with the Nintendo versus Genesis days, where everyone had both because you had to. You wanted to enjoy games that were incredible. Crispy, let's get your final opinion on this and move on to the next topic. Where do you fall? Like, I know that, obviously you're an Xbox guy like me, but you would never look and say, well, just because it's on Sony, I won't play it. What are your thoughts on them having 25 games that are first party in development?
It's more games, people. I mean, that's the way you got to look at it. There's so many, and this is where I get a little aggravated with how Sony's been right now. It's like one person says one thing and the other says, like, if it's 25 AAA bangers, you better have a big old bank to pull that out. I'm just saying,
especially if they're $50 million games.
I mean, could it be possible? Sure. But I mean, I don't see them getting investors or anything like that. So, it drives me nuts that like one person will say one thing and then the other will say another like a month later. And it's like, dude, but which one is it? Like, that's the only problem I have right now. But I mean, it's good news. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that, you want to see if you own the console. That's another problem. A lot of people are having trouble getting these consoles. Like, I got real lucky getting my Series X. So, it's all going to depend on how they approach this. Are they going to go full on next gen with every one of these titles? Are they still going to be bridging the gap, which a lot of people could say is kind of hindering, your experience on these new consoles? But at the same time, is it fair to just say, hey, we're just going to bring all these new games when you can't get a console anyway? So it's convoluted for both consoles right now. I'm still waiting for Xbox to bring out some new IP. We've seen glimpses of them, like Avowed, stuff like that, but it's like there's more there. And I swear to God, if we don't see something great at E3, I'm going to be not a happy camper for Xbox's side. And, PlayStation, that came out with that State of Play, it was like mediocre. It showed Ratchet. That's really the whole purpose of it. There's probably a reason for that. They're probably saving most of what they got for that E3 timeline. They're not going to E3.
moment.
Yeah. So, now that that's why I was like, well, this is for Ratchet. Like, I would have just rather them like throw out a little demo for people. Like, it would have made more sense to me. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. Like, at least they're saying something now. I got to give them credit for that, because if there's a long period of time where like they were just silent, and now they're kind of heading off, like even like bad PR, and at least trying to, but like they just need to like. The two executives need to get in line, like Jim Ryan and Herman Hulse. Like, I just feel like they're one will say one thing and one will say other. It's either that or they're, one's coming back and be like, oh no, that's not what we really meant. And it's like, dude, do you guys communicate? Like,
it's funny. It's funny you say that, because what it reminds me of is what hurt Xbox, the Xbox One generation. There were a lot of people talking, and they never seemed to be on the same page. Of course, Donnie D was responsible for nearly, and of course, the human roadblock, Terry Myerson. Thank God he's no longer there. Those two knuckleheads were probably the near end of Xbox. And sometimes you're right. You were onto something here, where Jim's saying something and then Herman is saying something else, and they don't seem to be on the same page sometimes, and that's bad for business. And I'm not saying that Sony's in trouble. What I'm saying is I agree with you 100%.
Well, everybody remembers Donnie saying,
good old Donnie D.
Go buy a 360.
Oh, no.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? I mean, come
on. We have a product for you.
We have a product for you. It's called the Xbox 360 if you don't want an online experience.
Yeah.
One of the greatest salesmen of all time right there.
Dude, I tell you, that I was like, say what? I actually saw that live. Okay. And I said, well, then I'm just going to keep my 360 then, you asshole. And I didn't go in until 2008 for the 360. And that's only because I was expecting PlayStation 3 to drop their price, and they did not. Yeah. So I said, I need a new console. And then, Gears got to me. And that's where I go and say, those big IPs do mean something, because, I'm still to this day, I'm an Xbox gamer, and I will always be as long as Gears is here, no matter what, because it is just my favorite franchise. And that's PlayStation fans feel the same way. Like, dude, SOCOM, I used to go for PlayStation all the time just because of SOCOM, because I loved that IP. And, let's go and say, like, these are important. And that's why 25 new games is important. Like that you can grab that new gamer and give them a new IP that they love for the next decade, to two, even in some cases. So it's a great thing. It's just get on the same page, guys. Come on.
Yeah. In regards to what you said about you would be disappointed if Xbox doesn't bring it, folks, I just kind of want to give people the heads up on, if you're not a fan of Xbox ever, you probably should be. Those guys over there are someone I recently found, not just like last week. I've known about them for a while, but I listen to them religiously. And there's a guy on the podcast, his name is Special Ed. And he is an industry insider. The guy has a lot of information. And, he was talking about the Xbox, what they're going to be doing at E3. And he says normally it's Microsoft, so I would tell people temper your expectations. He says, after what I have seen, and this is an exact quote, this is on the last podcast, you should not temper your expectations for this E3. Now, again, could he be wrong? Sure. Is he usually? No. So I'm going to not temper my expectations, because my glass is always half full. And, we'll see what happens. But it's going to be very interesting to see.
Temper your expectations.
No, I never do. I never do.
No, you have them when you have them out of like, okay, we're going to see cool stuff. That's going to be great. But, I'm not expecting to see God. Maybe they beam him down, but like
God Howard's going to be there, by the way.
Yes, he is.
Get out of here. Him and his cute jacket, get out.
You know what? What I want
to sit there for that indie showcase too for Microsoft. They all expect some good things.
Well, I mean, obviously, this is where they understood they made mistakes, and obviously the Twitch thing was a problem. I was very, very critical on that. They showed games, but it was those Twitch people, unfortunately, were awful. They were just. They
I
were
like
not.
to say the games were awesome. Shootout outside this
the games
club,
were great, but the people just, I wanted to kind of scratch my eyeballs out watching them, because they just were not good presenters. But folks, I want to move on to
Can I just say for 1 second, you just had a shootout outside this bar. Everybody, it's like nothing happened. They're like, yeah,
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
things
it's fine.
like these happen in these Mass Effect streets. I love it. Sorry.
Yeah,
continue.
not. Listen, folks, I want to bring Battlefield into the conversation because it's a big topic. Obviously, we have new information that Battlefield 6 will be revealed next month, but it won't be next gen exclusive. And that a lot of people in the community have a problem with this. The big question is, when will last gen titles stop being made, and will developers / publishers keep doing last gen versions until obviously there's enough next gen consoles on the market? Now, according to the article, once again from WCCF Tech, the next Battlefield game is going to be revealed next month. And this comes to us from EA CEO Andrew Wilson, who confirmed it during the publisher's Q4 2021 conference call. He described this new installment as an amazing relaunch of the franchise, quote, which will lead to an incredible live service for the future. Now, that line right there tells me that just based on some tweets recently between Battlefield's official Twitter account and Microsoft's Twitter account, that Battlefield 6 is probably going to be launched into Xbox Game Pass. I have a really strong belief in that. Again, no sources to back it up. It's just my personal feeling. But according to Andrew Wilson, they have nothing to announce at the moment on either the annualized Battlefield and or the nature of the modes in the upcoming Battlefield game. He says, we're going to talk about a lot. We're going to talk about a lot around that in the months to come, starting next month with our reveal trailer, which he said he had a chance of seeing the work in progress last week, and it's nothing short of incredible. Now, what the team has been able to do is, in the context of next gen consoles and epic scale battles, is unbelievable, and the player counts and the destruction in terms of those, which is really incredible and something to see. And it is very innovative and creative in the modes that they're going to have for the future of the franchise. He says this: I would finish by saying they're really excited about Battlefield. Everything I've seen in the game is spectacular, and I think it's going to be an amazing relaunch of that franchise this year and will lead us into an incredible live service for the future. Now, so far, folks, both DICE and EA have only referred to how incredible the game will look on PCs and next-gen consoles. However, though, that doesn't mean Battlefield won't release for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, as Wilson said in the conference call. Now, Pong, I want to go to you first on this. Listen, I think right now, listen, I understand Call of Duty sells a bajillion titles every year. It's Call of Duty, but I think they are really holding on to a disadvantage by going back to the 50s. Whereas, of course, the long awaited return of the prodigal son, known as Battlefield, is not only coming back big, but it's coming back better, and it's going to be modern. Where I think, again, if you think about how people have been clamoring for a modern Battlefield, we're going to get it. I still think that it's going to outdo Call of Duty because people are tired of World War II, World War I. I just don't understand why Activision decided to go back in time. But, it is what it is. What are your thoughts on what the CEO had to say? And are you excited to see if Battlefield 6 does come to Xbox Game Pass? Would it be a good fit for both EA and Microsoft?
Oh, absolutely, Boom. We've talked about this so many times. Battlefield is my beloved franchise as well, right? So we've been through the speculation town on Battlefield multiple times, and I am hyped. Now, I might be in the minority here. I am not worried about this, the last gen being included in this. If anybody has had an opportunity to play Battlefield 5 on a Series X or PlayStation 5,
incredible.
Oh my God. Frostbite 4 is an amazing engine. And if you've played it, you would not believe that was necessarily a last gen game from the visuals. With the update that they did and made it 4K 60 for PlayStation 5 and for Series consoles, that game looks like a brand new game. Okay. So I have zero worries about this next gen inclusion. They have gone out of their way to say that this game was built for the next gen. So I think that they are putting extra special effort into the next gen versions. And I think we are going to get a full-fledged obviously experience on whether you're playing on PS5 or series consoles. So I have zero worry about that part of this at all. Okay. I understand why they're doing it with multiplayer games. You need a big player base as possible, especially for Battlefield, who is trying to recapture the lost glory of the days when they were competing head to head with Call of Duty. And like you've just talked about, Boom, Call of Duty, supposedly, again, we don't even know. Now there's rumors that they might be having issues with the multiplayer. For the new Call of Duty, we might not even see it this year. We might get a remaster of Modern Warfare 2, I believe it is,
Yes.
multiplayer. Instead, this just opens the door for EA and for DICE to regain what they lost. They unfortunately made some mistakes. They went Battlefield 1 and then went back to World War 1 and then went to Battlefield 5, which was World War 2 again. It did not launch well. They had a lot of issues. So this is the moment, right? And if you're going to grab it, you grab it now. And I think they are going all out. I cannot wait to see the review of this game. I think that the excitement that you hear from everybody inside, of course, they're going to be hyped. It's their game. I get it. But at the same time, I think they know they have an opportunity that doesn't come along very often with Call of Duty potentially making their own mistake by going back to an older war style, which people are kind of sick of. Again, Call of Duty is going to sell.
I think it's a little long in the tooth there, Pong.
Oh yeah, it is. It definitely is. Especially when you've had Battlefield doing it as well. So people are just kind of been seeing this, this nonstop, and they don't want to see it anymore. Again, it just limits the customization in your weapons. It limits what you can do on the battlefield itself, pun intended. It limits you just from an experience standpoint as a gamer when you go back. Now, I love World War II. I'm a history guy. I love it. I always have. But even for me, there comes a point where it's like, man, I just want some modern stuff here. I just want to have all the scopes. I want to have all the attachments. I want to have, the vehicles. I want to have all of that. So I think that if Call of Duty is actually doing this, again, Battlefield has a rare opportunity to re-grab some of that mind share and get back into the conversation about which first person shooter is the best. Now they have competition. There's going to be Halo out there, obviously, which is going to be huge. But at the same time, if they do this right, and this excitement is obviously genuine, and I think it is from everybody I've been hearing from. I think they have something very special that's going to bring us back to the Battlefield 3, the Bad Company 2s, the Battlefield 4s after they fixed it. I think they're bringing us back to there again. And I think that if they do this right and they hit it out of the park, that we're going to be talking about Battlefield this holiday or whenever they release it. Again, I still think there's a chance they release it early this year if it's ready.
You have a summer theory. Talk about that for a second.
I do. I think that there's a chance. And again, I know they just had their investor call or whatever it was where they were expecting it, Q4, which would put it at the earliest, I think is October, I want to say. But I still think that if it's ready, that they jump out the gates early, because look at this. There's going to be a lull in the time from, when we get through E3 to holiday 2021, when Halo is expected, whenever Call of Duty is going to do is always expected, there's going to be a lull in there. And if they can jump out the gates a little early, let's say August, September, if they can jump out the gates, maybe even July, but I don't think it's going to be ready by then. But if they could jump out the gates a little early and get ahead of that curve,
even launch in August.
Right, correct. There's going to be a spot for them to jump in when nobody else is. Everybody's going to be kind of done. A lot of people are already kind of burning out on Call of Duty Cold War. Warzone's still pumping away, which is fine. That's not your main competitor. But if you can jump into that space, you are going to grab people on both PlayStation and Xbox sides who are looking for something. And when you throw a Battlefield in that mix, a new Battlefield, modern style Battlefield, bringing back those old feelings again of only in Battlefield, all those memories that we have, I think they could really, really give themselves a huge advantage to not have to go up against the Halo hype and whatever Call of Duty is going to throw out there. I think they could jump in, grab a huge portion of people, get people talking about Battlefield out the gates. And then if you are able to put this into Game Pass and get it back into front of, maybe to potentially 25, 30 million people right out of the gate, I think then you're talking about having a special moment in time where Battlefield gets back to what it should be, which is at the top of the heap of first-person shooters. And I think you give it some legs. You give the team the time to get, if they're going to do a battle royale mode that's going to compete with Warzone, which only makes sense, you give the team the time to go ahead and get that ready. And then you've got the hype build up if this game's hitting and people are talking about it and everybody's like, Battlefield's back. I think then at that moment, you've got that momentum rolling into when you launch your own Battle Royale version and hopefully compete with Warzone. So I think, boom, this is a really, really good shot for EA and DICE. And I think they need to take it. And if there's any opportunity for them to get out the gates early, I think they need to do it. And I do believe that Game Pass is a reality. And I think it only makes sense from so many different standpoints to get it in there, get people talking about it. We've seen it already with smaller games like Outriders, what it can do. It can take over the internet. People start talking about it, people start streaming it, friends start jumping in because it's no longer, hey, I need to go buy this game. Now it's when your friends hit you up, it's, hey, I just need to download this game real quick. Hold on. Especially when it comes to Game Pass.
And you know something, you really hit the nail on the head. What if they're at 25 plus million subscribers? I get it. EA wants the money, but that's not where they live. EA lives in the realm of microtransactions, right? That's where they make their money, and obviously people you got to understand, Microsoft is dropping a bag, potentially 5, maybe even 15 bags of money off at EA to get that in there, so they're not going to lose out.
Right. Correct. Exactly. And you have to again, when you're playing from behind, which Battlefield currently is, you have to grab every advantage that you possibly can. And for EA, it's not going to help them to put out a game at full price if nobody's going to pick it up, or if you're not going to get the same amount of people eyes on and player base, especially with 128, player count, maps. You need people playing that game all the time. And that's the only way they're going to make their money. So it does make a lot of sense for them to just drop it in Game Pass, take the bag from Microsoft, call it a day, rebuild that franchise back to what it was. And if down the road next year or the year after, or whatever the case may be, you've got enough like Call of Duty where you don't necessarily have to drop into Game Pass, although by then it might only makes sense just to keep dropping in Game Pass. But if you choose not to at that point because you've got the popularity back again and you're going to get those upfront sales out the gate, then go ahead. Then you don't have to do that. But right now, you have to grab every advantage that you can to get yourself back towards the top.
Yeah, no, 100%. Joe, let's get you in on the conversation. You are a big time Battlefield fan, and obviously this is coming back in a big way. I think they might have caught Call of Duty with their pants down, because going back to the 50s, yes, it's going to sell. People are going to play, but people are not going to love it. But people are potentially going to really enjoy Battlefield. It's one of out of the two modern shooters, Battlefield is always my first choice. I know it's yours as well. First of all, let's touch on what the CEO had to say about it, but let me get your opinion on the importance of potentially launching in the Game Pass.
I think this game's going to, for the reason that it needs to catch up to Call of Duty. It needs to catch up to that market, and I think Game Pass is the way to do it. I think when you take a look at the profit that EA makes, 25% of that is on premium game sales. The rest of it, all of it, is microtransactions and services. So I think it's not the biggest loss in the world if they decide to go to Game Pass. And when you take a look at the field, it's kind of like what we talked about when I was talking about Halo. This holiday season is going to be packed with first-person shooters,
Yep.
packed with multiplayer games. You need to do something that's going to get you out front of people. Launching early is not going to do that, Pong. I'm gonna be real with you. August is when they launch Madden, right? And determining when Halo comes out is going to probably and Call of Duty is going to probably determine when Battlefield comes out. So I definitely feel like Battlefield may go first in the line of shooters, and I think that's probably I'm not in September. I'll say October range. And launching the Game Pass is going to really help them gain that mass amount of audience that they need. I also think they're going to probably launch, probably not at launch, but they'll probably have a battle royale mode as well to accompany the game. One of those free entries to get people in the door as well. This is the things that they're going to do to try to make them stand out above the rest, because not just Halo, not just Call of Duty, you got Warzone, you got Fortnite that you're going to be competing with on that multiplayer stage. You got Rainbow Six Siege. Like, there's so much out there that Battlefield needs that 100 and plus people on that battlefield.
Yeah.
So when I take a look at it's going to be on PS4 and Xbox One, I assume that. I assume most games, if not, most games are going to be on, last gen and this gen for at least another year. We're going to have another year of games being cross platform because there's just not enough of the Xbox Series and PS5s on the market. So does it hold it back? No, because I do genuinely think that this game was prioritized to make sure that it was taking the power of the PS5 and Xbox Series into account here. So I'm pumped for Battlefield. I can't wait for it because it's one of my games. And whether it comes to Game Pass or not, I feel like I will be. This is a series a lot of people may not know. I buy it on literally every single platform. That is
with Resident Evil.
How weird I am.
No, I'm not weird about it. I do it on Resident Evil.
It's not even at launch. Like, I just end up just playing it everywhere. It's like, oh yeah, it's on sale on PC. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. So honestly, I'm excited. I do think. I understand why Call of Duty is going to World War II, because there's almost, you have to change up the scenery every now and again. But I do think it gives Battlefield a good time to take the wins out of Call of Duty sales a little bit. Call of Duty is still going to be the biggest shooter. It's still going to sell the most units than any other piece of IP this year. It's just, how do you make a dent? And I think hopefully that's what Battlefield does.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Crispy Bomb, let's get your opinion. You're a big multiplayer guy. Obviously, we know that you love Gears, but what are your thoughts on the potential of Battlefield 6 launching into Game Pass? And do you think it launching for next-gen consoles only it would have been a mistake?
Well, because there's not enough consoles out there, I do believe it would have been a mistake. For it to come into Game Pass, it's quite possible. I mean, EA is pretty much, best friends with Xbox at this point. And, what they've been doing, they have to have some data about it. And a huge multiplayer game like Battlefield could be the perfect point where you say, okay, we got to find out how big this is. And that 25 million thought, I mean, that would be probably a big thing on their thought process on it. Because I'm sure, at this point, the way EA and Xbox approach each other, it's like, well, if you're not comfortable, we're cool with it. I think even though there's probably contractual obligations, that doesn't mean that Xbox is going to force them to do anything. And that's because they want to continue this partnership for the long run. And, EA and Battlefield in general, Battlefield, I always look at, like even Battlefield 3 really pushed the boundaries of what we felt a multiplayer first-person shooter could be. Definitely up my alley more. I love, being able to use the vehicles and stuff like that. It really gives a even bigger modernization to the first person shooter. And that's something that really I gravitate towards. And I kind of missed that. Battlefield's been off my radar for a while because they went back, and I tried Battlefield 1 and I was like, I really, gravitate towards 3, and then I dabbled into 4, but I mean, it kind of lost its luster at a point in time. And now that they've kind of went through their paces, and now, even though I want a Bad Company again, I mean, I think everybody does, for them to go really to the modernization again. And with the power of these consoles, I just hope they use it in some way, shape, or form, because I feel like they could do even more with what they have now. And, hopefully they update it as it goes, and they make it even better experience. But to go into Game Pass, I think would be huge for them. You're still getting that money on the back end, but you're also getting those microtransactions, whatever you get, and you're giving a player base, as games go to free to play, you see the popularity of Warzone. Maybe this is just EA's way of doing it for now. Down the road, I think we're going to see versions of games all over the place that have, a free to play model. It's inevitable. I just hope the microtransactions don't destroy us like phones or something like that, because I mean, my girlfriend has literally 12, 13 games because, thank God she refuses to spend money on any of them. But it's she'll go, once they time her out or something, they'll go to the next one. If we get to that point, I'm going to have a major issue. But as of now, at least, you get to experience these games that are free to play, and, it's up to you to purchase, cosmetics. And that's where, if we go past cosmetics, major problems with that. But as of now, Battlefield would be the only one on my radar. And I think it could be a huge, huge mistake for Call of Duty to go back, because I felt like they've been kind of going away from the modern for too long now. And now, people are like, okay, well, I mean, Cold War is modern, but we want modern. And,
right.
I think, Infinite, the Call of Duty Infinite War, whatever it was called, that really turned people off to the modern. But as you've even seen,
futuristic.
Yeah, they went too far. They went too
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
But now you see, boom, Titanfall has gotten a really big jump in its
Dude,
player
so
base,
many people are playing. I can't stop playing this game. And listen, I've been a big
I
fan.
suck
from the
so
beginning.
bad when I'm in a Titan, and it makes me sad how bad I suck at being a Titan.
But I think, and that's what I say, maybe now you could kind of go back to that and see if it catches on, because it was unfortunate, but Titanfall really didn't catch on then. And I think that Call of Duty suffered the same thing. And now it's people want some kind of new experience. And regardless of, even though you feel like you're going back, I mean, look at how good this game looks. And it, it's one of the few first person shooters I enjoy playing. Do I get my butt whooped? Sure. But you have different elements hey,
this is from 2016, folks, and it just received 120 frame per second boost, bro. I mean, it is worth playing.
So for what Battlefield is doing, kudos them, because you have to push the envelope, and hopefully they do. Hopefully they bring some really new stuff to the game, but also not being totally next gen. I just hope they have a contingency plan to really kind of push it to those consoles, even though it's not totally next gen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Big Cloud, let's get your opinion on what do you think? Where do you think? Is Battlefield going to win the war, quote unquote, so to speak, with Call of Duty this year? Considering that one went modern and went back in time, and more importantly, do you see Microsoft dropping the big bag to get this into Game Pass? Because I mean, if you think about it, if they're able to do that, and of course launch Horizon 5, Starfield, and Halo in Game Pass, along with Battlefield 6. My God, that's going to sell subscriptions.
Yeah, that seems like the strat, and I do believe that they are going to do that with Battlefield in general. As far as Battlefield beating Call of Duty, Call of Duty's at that point where it's again, we say this all the time, the thing that's going to kill Call of Duty is Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Yeah. But in terms of stealing heat from Call of Duty, oh yeah, they can definitely do that, especially if they get it, you can get it for free, so to speak, with just Game Pass. That's the easier way of getting it. You ain't got to drop, $60, $70 on this game to get that. So yeah, I agree that this would definitely be a big deal for them. The thing though about Call of Duty is just so random. You know what I mean? Like you don't know what you're gonna get with this one. You don't know what you're gonna get with that one. You think they're gonna stay with a specific formula, and it's like, hey guys, we're going back, like way back. We're going back 1960s, 1920s. It's like, yeah, that didn't work with World War II. So why are we doing it again with this one? You know what I'm saying? It's like they're out of ideas, clearly. They know they can't push the futuristic stuff anymore because the community is done with it. Because the reason why the community doesn't like the futuristic stuff for Call of Duty is because they just throw in the most pay to win ass. You know what I mean? Like they break the flow of the game. Now I'm surprised they didn't even go the full route with like Titanfall when they first copied Titanfall with the movements. Yeah. I'm surprised there's no Titans in the game. I mean, granted, there was a small.
I agree with you. I think I'm actually. You're right. I'm surprised they didn't copy it because it's a great formula.
Yeah. Like on some real, like Titans in Call of Duty, that would definitely mix things up.
I would have bought that in the. I would have become a Call of
Duty. Any future first-person shooter needs mechs. Period. Point.
I agree. Like the mechs in general open up new ways of playing. It was just a different, experience each time. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna run through the wall and shoot these guys. No, you had an option to use a mech and go through the world. That kind of brings back that old school feel for Call of Duty back when it was World at War. Y'all remember that one? With the tanks.
Yep, absolutely.
Remember how everybody was so in love with that game because you had the freedom of just jumping into different vehicles and going through the world? That it goes right back to that, like options. And I think that's what Call of Duty really needs. Call of Duty needs to find itself, first of all, because they don't know what they want to be. They really don't. Like at first they wanted to be the best shooter. Then all of a sudden they want to be, oh, okay, it's all about commitment. It's all about, you guys. And it's like, the community. So as they said that's where Robert Bowling trolled us with Final Stand and Modern Warfare 3. Then after that, it just went downhill. So it's like, they have a long way to go.
No, I agree.
But I think Battlefield stays true to what it is. I mean, it's not perfect, right? I wouldn't say neither are perfect, but I would say Battlefield really earned the stripes, and I think it's ready to take the crown, so to speak, if it gets the opportunity. I think so.
And I absolutely agree with that statement as well. And I think that they have an opportunity that is presented to themselves. And again, they literally could have the best case scenario. Call of Duty takes a step back because they go back to the 1950s and Game Pass. Game Pass gets this game in the hands of millions of gamers who may not be Battlefield fans, or more importantly, online shooter fans. Maybe they were going to pass on it. Now they don't have to, and that potentially opens up millions and millions of more people playing a game that everyone has been looking forward to, with, of course, the return of Battlefield. But folks, as we close in on the 2-hour mark, and this has been one hell of a show, we're going to actually be able to get a chance to talk about every topic, including, we opened up with Mass Effect. I kind of want to talk about Nintendo for a second. Now, that's something that we don't normally talk about on this channel. It's not because we don't like Nintendo. I mean, I just bought Pokemon Snap. I have about 60 games for the Switch. I love it. But this was a big topic. Now, what the way it opened up with, we're going to be potentially getting next month a new, or at least new information, I should say, on a new 2D Metroid for the Switch, which I've been calling for. I think it's the perfect console for it. A new Donkey Kong, a new Fire Emblem, and Mario Party 2. But because we don't have a lot of time, I want to really focus in on the game that's currently being developed by Mercury Steam. Now, this information comes to us. He is an insider on Reset Era. His name is Zippo, Zippo. I've never heard of him, but apparently he has gotten it right more times than he's gotten it wrong. And he's the one that talked about the new Paper Mario, the new 2D Metroid, the new Donkey Kong, and of course, what was that? What else did I want to say? A new Fire Emblem is going to be coming. But again, I kind of want to talk about the Mercury Steam developed 2D Metroid. And according to him, he says it's 200% that it exists. And in fact, it's done. And he wrote this on his blog. He says this: all Nintendo needs to do at this point is announce it. Nintendo, and by extension, Scamato internally, is extremely happy with how the title turned out. And the only other thing I have heard recently is that the game is at a very smooth 60 frames per second. And he says that my hard read predictions is that it's going to be an announcement at their E3 Direct next month. Have some patience, bounty hunters. We're almost there. Listen, let me tell you something. I've been gaming for a very long time. I'm going to be 51 this year, folks. I'm an old bastard, right? So I started with the with the Atari 2600 back in 1978. But I will never forget the time when I turned on Metroid and heard that spooky music in the background. And when I played Metroid, I was frustrated because I didn't understand of the game that much, but I got finally into it. I beat it. I absolutely loved it. I think Samus is one of the most underused characters in gaming, in my personal opinion. And to see the Switch, as popular as it is, that we never got the 3DS game that was made originally for the 3DS, that was an incredible remake of one of the best Metroid games, not make its way to the Switch, is a crime against humanity. But to know that we got a new 2D game from Mercury Steam, I am pumped. You know what? Let's go to BitCloud on this. You obviously are a fan of Samus. Are you excited that we're potentially getting a new Metroid game for the first time in what seems like years?
Yes, sir. Like, Nintendo has so many characters they're sitting on that they never
the Disney
use.
of video games.
Pretty much, like Kid Icarus, all that stuff. They have so many insane characters, like Star Fox in general as well. So many characters that could have games and could be out here right now. But for Metroid, this game, we've been talking about Metroid for the longest. Like, when are we going to see Metroid? When are we going to get a Metroid? And, they're saying that it could be at the E3. Now, here's the thing. If they're going to do it at E3, I honestly think they're probably going to show off the Switch Pro at this point then.
Oh, God, I hope so, please.
Because you remember, Switch Pro news the Switch Pro started to ramp up again in terms of just being mentioned a lot lately. I think that's probably playing a factor into it, because they really do need to beef up the hardware for these third-party games.
I agree. Yep.
So I see it happen. Like, okay. Yeah, you're gonna get Metroid, but guess what? Before we get your Metroid, I highly recommend you guys upgrade to the new Switch Pro, and it's going to show off a beefier dock and everything. What it was rumored to be. I think that's it, though. Honestly, that's it.
Well, you know what I'm hoping for is I'm hoping for a twofold. I really want the Metroid Prime trilogy. I know that game has been done. We've heard from different people. We've heard that it was supposed to be announced. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 Game Awards ago, and they pulled it. I don't know why they did, but I'd love to see that. I would play that game like it was a new game, and obviously I would love to see them not only talk about bringing the classics back in a trilogy, but getting a new 2D Metroid. Pong, let's get your opinion on this. You're a classic gamer like us. Are you excited to finally see a brand new from scratch Metroid for the Switch?
Yeah, of course I am. Even though I don't buy Nintendo anymore, I still respect Nintendo for everything that they are. Respect the hustle, and they have built an empire on nostalgia. This is the perfect thing to launch, because again, like you said, Boom, Samus is an incredible character who has been underutilized, in my opinion, by Nintendo. It's a shame that we don't have more Metroid games. Metroid being one of my favorite Nintendo games from back in the day, of course. I can't wait to see what they come out with, especially if this 2D thing is real. Are you kidding me? To go back to the classic style? I can't wait to see what they pull off. So yeah, I am definitely excited. I am happy for all the Nintendo fans out there, because again, this is something that people have been clamoring for a long time. Nintendo does their own thing. They do it on their own time, despite whatever their fans demand. They just seem to do it whenever they want to. And so
they definitely walk to their own drum, brother.
they do. They don't care. And like I said, they've built an empire on it. So again, kudos to them. Nothing but respect for that hustle. But to see fans finally get a new Metroid, especially in the classic style, I know everybody likes Metroid Prime and stuff, and want to see it come back as well. But a 2D Metroid is the way to do it. And if it's as good as what these reports are, my God, of course we could see a resurgence yet again for that franchise when it comes to a 2D side scroller. And I think this is great. I can't wait to see what they come out.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Crispy Bomb, let's get your opinion on this. Listen, I don't know where your allegiance lies with Nintendo, but to call them the comeback kids after the disaster that was the Wii U, to see them being as successful as they are now, they're really diving deep into those bags. I cannot wait to see what this 2D Mario, this 2D Metroid is. It's about time. It's a game that I will play. I will not put down because I love Metroid. Again, I honestly believe the Samus character is the most underused Nintendo character in gaming. There's no doubt. What are your excitement levels to see what Nintendo could do, or more importantly, Mercury Steam can do with the Metroid IP?
Well, the funny thing is the first 4 games I've ever played in my life were Pac-Man, Metroid, Super Mario, and Donkey Kong. Okay. I don't remember which one was first. All I remember is that my doctor's office had an arcade cabinet that had multiple Nintendo games in it. It was basically a Nintendo arcade cabinet.
That's dope.
And that would get me to go to the doctor's office, by the way. I'm just saying. it was not a problem for my parents to get me to go there, because I'd go there and I'd play Mario or I'd play Metroid. And as soon as I played Metroid, I was like, man, this is just crazy. And that, that got me to get an NES down the road as my first console, playing Duck Hunt, Super Mario, and Metroid, and then Kirby down the line, stuff like that. So Nintendo is like got always gonna pull at the heartstrings for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what they do is so special, because I feel like we wouldn't have gaming where it is right now if it's not for them. So for them to be doing it in 2D, you got me interested, because now, that my girlfriend's moved in, there is a Switch in the house. So you might see Crispy actually,
I like it.
bust out the Switch to get some feels of some Metroid, and I hope that at some point we see a Switch Pro, because that might actually get me to purchase the console. You know what I mean? Now it's coming in the house, it's here, but it's just the regular Switch. It's actually one of the the beginning of it. She got it for him. So, at this point, I would like to see an updated version, and it might get me to start playing Nintendo again. It's been a long time, and some of these IPs I haven't touched, so it's going to be somewhat of a new game for me. And it's definitely interesting, and I'm actually really happy to hear the 2D aspect of it. I'm definitely more interested because of that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think again they could do a twofold thing here, simply because they can appeal to both fans. And I think that if you're a Metroid fan, you'll appreciate Prime. You get a trilogy of what was released for the GameCube, where it started, and to be able to get that as a trilogy on the Switch or the Switch Pro is dope. And to get a new Metroid in the classic way that we know to play the game in 2D is even doper, if that is a word. Joe, let's get your final opinion and we'll get everyone out of here. Again, we talked early on about strong female leads. Of course, I immediately equate that to Aloy, one of my favorite PlayStation characters.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't deny what Samus brings to the table, and a new Metroid seems very exciting. It seems almost too perfect, to be honest, because again, we could get the first person one that a lot of people enjoyed, and I enjoyed that as well, which was Metroid Prime trilogy, and a new side-scrolling 2D Metroid on the Switch, which I think is the perfect console for. What are your thoughts on this? Are you excited?
Oh man, I'm excited, man. Truth be told, I'm not a huge Metroid guy. I remember as a kid buying Metroid Prime for GameCube because it looked cool, the cover looked awesome, and me just being lost. And even with the strategy guide, remember strategy guides? There used to be a gosh dang encyclopedia, a Bible, and a thesaurus all in one.
We use those for Pokemon.
Hell yeah, dude! Even then, I was lost, and so I want to see what. Metroid is a game that's beloved by fans, and unfortunately, it's not as popular as we would like it to be. And so that's why Nintendo's never been like, yeah, okay, fine, guys, just shut up. Here's this DS game, more than anything. But I think, I think it's like the worst kept secret for a while now that they have multiple Metroid remakes / remasters in the pipe, and they're sitting on them because they're waiting for Prime 4 to be close to announce, because they know, because they're a company, they're smart, that they're going to need that remaster remakes to get from people familiar with that IP. Because again, outside the hardcore audience that we are, not a lot of people really know. So I think this is I think this is happening. This is great because I want to get back into Metroid, or not back into. I want to get into Metroid, because like you said it, she started it all. Remember, like with the NES, when you find out, like you think this is like a cool Space Marine type of dude, bro, and then like she takes the armor off, you're like, oh shoot, that I was playing as a lady the whole time. They ruined the game. They made
the biggest ruse in gaming history.
Exactly. So but that's super cool. So she means a lot to a lot of people out there, and I know so many Metroid fans, man. They're hurting. They're hurting for news. So I hope this is real for them more than me.
I agree. And listen, great stuff as always, brother. Listen, you know what, folks, this has been one hell of a show. 2-hour show. We're actually 5 minutes before. We got 5 topics in, lots of opinions. Hopefully you hung out and enjoyed. We had almost 400 people here. And I want to thank, of course, everyone that took the time to hang out. Of course, I want to encourage you to hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We are on the march to 10K, folks. And when we get there, if you're subscribed, you have a chance to win either one of 2 big prizes. Mrs. Boomstick and I have decided that because the community has been so great to us and so important to us birthing this channel, we're going to be giving away an Xbox Series X for the grand prize with a year of Game Pass, and runner-up prize, which is no slouch, an Xbox Series S with, yes, a year of Game Pass. And all you got to do, folks, is subscribe and help us get past the 10K mark, which we're close. We're at 8,300. So, of course, we're calling it the 10K giveaway. And again, if you're new, I think that you're going to dig it. E3 is around the corner, folks, and the amount of coverage that we're going to be doing for this channel is going to be the entire week. You're going to get at least 5 live shows Monday through Friday that week of E3, and you might even get a bonus nighttime show depending on what is actually being discussed. Obviously, usually Sony does their night their shows in the evening, so we may have to come back after a day of podcasting to do it again to talk about what Sony shows. But of course, let's get to the outros, and I'll start with our special guest. This guy is no slouch. He's actually been really exploding on the scene. He's going to be doing a show tomorrow morning with what I think is Steel Rain, is another individual that not only got to make his appearance on this show, but he's been doing some big things in the community. Of course, we're talking about Living Split Screen. Hey, Pong, tell everyone about what show you're going to be on tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and about your Living Split Screen tomorrow, and where can people follow you on social media.
Thanks again, Boom, for the invite this morning. Always great to get on here. Again, Big Cloud, it was awesome to be on another show with you, sir. Crispy, always a fantastic time. Obviously, Joe, love you, hate you, All the same, brother.
Yeah, you're a real son of a gun.
No, but this is fantastic. Chat, you guys are amazing. Always here. One of the best chats ever in Boom shows. You guys are crazy with your comments and back and forth. There's always great discussion in there. I love just reading it. So thank you all for coming out. You guys are absolutely fantastic. You can find me tonight on Xbox Ultimate with Fun Speculation, aka Mav, his wife Caitlin, 3-Bit, Psychonauts 8, Assassin Lupa, and Lady AF, the Magnificent Seven. We are on, as Boom said, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 o'clock Central Time. Fantastic show. My extended family over there, I absolutely love them, and we always have a
the
great
show
time.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Joe, you were on. We had a great time.
Yeah.
and you know how we go off topic, Joe. So
Oh, very well.
And then tomorrow morning, like Boom was saying, Steel Rain and myself are waking everybody up. We've been waking up more and more people each week. The support is outrageous, guys. This community is awesome. Love you all. You can come out and see us at 10 a.m. Central Time, or Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Central Time. That's Living Split Screen. Split Screen is all one word. We talk about all things across the entire industry. It's not centric in any way possible. You never know where Steel and I are going to go, but we are just full of energy in the morning. That's what he and I bring. And the show has been exactly what we thought it would be. And we're just hoping to grow it more. So come check us out again, Living Split Screen tomorrow morning, episode 8 tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, you can find me on the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam, Centurion, Fuzzy Belvedere, and Stagorilla. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Be there. Short show. We try to keep it just a little bit over an hour. We've been having some great guests. So just come check us out. Fun time. Again, we talk about a mix of topics as well there. And then otherwise, you guys can find me Tuesdays on Xbox Factor Podcast, back here again with Mr. Boomstick, my brother from another, and Zemi Games, of course.
Boo
come check us out
Zemi.
Tuesday.
Cancel.
Boo
Hashtag
Zemi.
Cancel Zemi.
Yeah,
Games.
I know. I know. I hate
He needs
even
to be
having to
stopped.
mention his name. No, it's a great time. Tuesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Otherwise, you guys find me Pong Soul everywhere, Xbox and Twitter. Follow me, I'll follow you back. But you guys are all great. Love you all. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy some games. Play what you love what you play. And we'll definitely be talking to you all soon.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that. And of course, let's get Mr. Badbit on out of here. Mr. Badbit, you've been doing some big things over at the trophy room, and Kyle is going to be spending a day with Greg Flippin Miller and that crew over at, of course, Kind of Funny, coming up soon. What do you guys got going on at the trophy room, and where can people potentially boo you on social media?
Yeah, man, it's been a crazy few weeks. I've been hopping on all sorts of shows promoting that Kyle, my co-host, will be continuing our collaboration with Kind of Funny with PS I Love You. He will be a guest host there next week, so I'm very excited for him. It's going to be a hell of a show. He's fantastic, and this is all his, right? So I'm trying to be the best front man I could be. So make sure you go out there, cheer for Kyle. He's going to absolutely crush it. He's going to be fantastic. So make sure you guys check out PS I Love You next week with my good friend, my brother, Kyle Stevenson, at the helm there. And you can find the trophy room this week. We got a lot of things to talk about. We talk about our hype for Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We give our review of Resident Evil Village, all the things. The 25 new IP headed to PlayStation, what it means, and even some PSVR news, as we have a lot of fun with. It's a fantastic show. So make sure you check out the Trophy Room, whether it's on YouTube at the Trophy Room channel or the podcast, the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast each and every Thursday on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Google Play, and mention and this is a big one. If we hit 200 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, we're giving away a copy of Ratchet and Clank for the PlayStation 5. So
nice.
It's gonna be it's head on over. Make sure you rate it 5 stars. Share it to us on Twitter or put your Twitter handle in it, and We'll be calling the winners in early June. It's gonna be a fun time, man. It's things are looking up. It's great.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, Big Cloud, let's get you on out of here, brother. Tell everyone about what you got going on today at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And more importantly, have you hit the 10K yet?
We are close to 10K.
Okay.
But as far as what we've been doing, so I told everybody about this last time, but a lot of doors have opened up, and shout out to Sony. We've been interviewing a lot of PlayStation devs over there on the RGT podcast. We
killing it, by the way, man.
Thank you.
Your interviews are fantastic. Congrats.
Thank you. Our last interview, we interviewed Rudolph from Housemark.
Nice.
He was the sound engineer for Returnal. And we had an awesome conversation with him, as well as Rachel from Sony Santa Monica, and a few others. So we have a lot of stuff planned. This show, I don't really have one for you guys this show, but next show you guys are for another big special guest coming through. But yeah, that's what we're doing on Fridays. We're having more fun with the show, and just overall we're just enjoying ourselves, man. It's too much. One thing I don't like to be in the same like echo chamber, if that makes sense, right? Like
no, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with being different.
Exactly. And I see a lot of people do the exact same thing, and the purpose of a lot of things that we've done different this time around is because we want to stand out in our own unique way. And so we have a lot of things done. I'm gonna tell these guys what else was gonna happen, because ironically we were gonna have a huge guest for today, but something happened, so I'm about to tell them off here. I can't say it on air yet. So
okay.
But I'll give you guys a hint. I'll give you guys a hint to those you watching the show that are still here. First of all, hit that like button for Boom. Later in the summer, this individual will be on RGT. We already pretty much signed that up, so that's a good deal. But you guys can find me at Big Cloud Gaming, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Definitely give me a follow over there, and hope to see you on Fridays. That's where we do the most, and obviously I upload videos, etc. But yeah, that's me.
Nice, brother. Definitely appreciate that. And last and no way least, Crispy Bomb. Once again, brother, you killed it as always. Tell everyone where they can check you out on what other shows you're on, and you're on quite a few of them, as well as where could people reach out to you on social media.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, gentlemen. And the chat was awesome. A couple people needed to get smacked upside the head real quick, but you know, you got to relax with that. We're all gamers, man. Like we're going to talk about different platforms. That's what we do on Breakfast with Boom. That's why I love being here. So, at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28, Xbox Live. You can find me on Retro Renegades Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Thursday night, 8 p.m. prime time, the next podcast, and back here 10 a.m. Fridays with Breakfast with Boom.
Well, thanks for being here, brother. And of course, a big shout out to the near 400 people. Just want to thank everybody for the support in keeping Double Barrel Gaming growing each and every show. Again, we're going to have a lot of content coming your way. I'm already working on Monday's Primetime Gaming, as well as Tuesday's Xbox Factor podcast. I'm going to take the weekend off and kind of just hang out with Mrs. Boomstick and just probably get some gaming in. I'd actually like to play some games instead of just talking about them. And I'm going to do that. Everyone, I want to thank you once again for being here. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dear old dad taught us. And I think especially people in this chat need this more than ever. Treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice, and stop being an asshole, and have a freaking good weekend. My father actually didn't say stop. He didn't say that part. I
can picture you like 7-year-old in the car, like backseat, causing trouble. He's like,
don't be an asshole, Craig. No. People need some people in this chat really need a chill pill. It's almost embarrassing that they're grown men acting like children. I'm not going to call anybody out. You know who you are, and you know what? You keep acting like this, you're not going to be a part of this anymore. And I'm done saying it. I come here. I like to promote fun. I like to promote togetherness. That's what this channel is built on. If you don't want to be a part of it, good on you. But you don't have to, and then we'll just send you packing on your way, or we'll just mute you where no one can hear or see you. And when you come back, we'll just do it again. Because you know what? I don't like the stupidness that I see in this chat with some people. And if I'm pissing you off, you know what you can do for me?
Is the same guy
unsubscribe.
is it the same guy from yesterday?
I don't want to say. I don't want to give anybody
Oh, okay.
unnecessary credit, but all you have to do is look at the chat and see
pull
who's
this
always
call
fighting.
right over, right?
So
we don't have to go to Disney World, kids.
no. People need to be put on the pay no mind list, and that's coming. The time of being nice is over, and I just want this chat to run. Little Papa, who is our modder, has his hands full already, and what I want to do is not make his job more difficult. And again, I'm just tired of the nonsense. I just think that you should come here and you can have an opinion. No one's telling you not to have an opinion, but you don't have to fight with everyone when they don't agree with you, and you know exactly who I'm talking about. But listen, folks, have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming on, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.